Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Game Reviews. What game are we reviewing this time? Pentiment. Pentiment is a adventure, they say role-playing, but I guess there's some role-playing to it. Not necessarily in the form of putting points into some sort of system, but you are kind of creating your character in a sense, their kind of their personality, right? But it is developed by Obsidian Entertainment, published by Xbox Game Studios. It came out on Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S on November 15th of 2022. It is a single-player game, kind of an adventure, narrative-driven adventure game is what I would say it's more like. But yeah, so it's very unique style of game. So let's go around and see what everybody thought of Pentiment. Shane, what do you think of Pentiment?
It is my game of the year for the NyQuil Awards because it is making me sleepy when I hit play. This game is so boring. There's nothing about the game excluding the writing that does anything for me. The writing is really fantastic overall, but everything else is such a slog. It's so boring. It's so dull that it was so hard to play anything on this game. It was just hit play and then it's just a dull. The graphics don't do anything for me. Character designs don't do anything for me. I don't know. It's like I wished they would have put this writing into a good game, into a good RPG, because the writing is good. I mean, there was some right off the bat. There was some funny stuff to it and interesting stuff, but none of the choices that I ran across made me feel anything. When you get those, it's like, okay, I pick A, B, C, whatever. You know, it's not that linear, but none of it gave me any want to move forward in the game. I mean, it was a knife in my back to move forward. And sometimes I wanted to just step back into the knife. It was just so dull. And I hate saying that because the writing is that good. I mean, we've talked about how much we enjoyed the writing, but for me, the gameplay is just a bore. I mean, I would rather drown myself in a gallon of NyQuil and I'll get the same effect this game gives me. It's just terribly boring to me. I wanted to like it because a lot of people have said amazing things about it, but not me, not this cowboy, not at freaking all. Pat, is there anything you would like to say that might be positive?
I am trying to figure out where the hype from this game is coming from. I mean, it's a storytelling game that has some mystery elements when you get further in, some mini games throughout the thing, but they're all based on different dialogues that you have with different people and talking with different people. The RPG element, in my opinion, only comes from when you talk to people and you make decisions about where your character's from, what he studied when he was at university, and what he did with this. You're building your character, and then as the game progresses further, there's some time mechanics that come into play where you kind of have to make a decision like quickly. So, you know, you kind of push with a decision to make really quick. So it makes that a little bit more strenuous. But overall, unless you're like I like story driven games. But this is a walking simulator, in my opinion, with some very light RPG elements. And I'm not a huge history buff gamer, you know, but if you're a big history buff gamer, this is kind of some stuff for you because it's got very time relative stuff and stuff like that. That's very kind of has a historical presence, in my opinion. But to me, it's just boring. The dialogue is okay. I mean, I'm not interested in the subject matter of the game. And I just didn't feel like there was enough interaction for me to call it a game. The visual thing was kind of interesting for the first, half hour, the way they did the art style and stuff. But after that, I'm kind of over it. I'm like, okay, cool. It feels like I'm playing a choose your own adventure game book, with some very light RPG elements to it. It's really, really slow to me. And I spent the first hour pushing buttons because there's not a whole lot of decisions in the first probably 15 to 20 minutes of the game. After that, then you start getting asked questions about where do you hail from? Where did you study at? What subjects did you study, and things like that. It really reminds me of reading a book, a fantasy book, in a historical religious fantasy book at that, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I do like a great storytelling game, but I'm more of a sci-fi storytelling game, not a historical type stuff. So that's probably why this game doesn't appeal to me as much. If you had probably built a story similar to this with sci-fi tropes, I would be more interested in it than historical tropes. Like I said, I'm not a historical gamer. I don't care about historical settings in games and things like that. That doesn't tick the box for me, if you will. So, I can't get too deep into the game or else you give away the main plot point for the game, and that just ruins it for anybody who wants to get to that point. So let's just know that there is a mystery to be solved and, and all this kind of stuff that you get into. And it's broken down into 4 acts. So if you like reading stories and having a decision like a choose your own adventure story, then you love historical events and historical time settings, then this game is probably right up your alley. But if you like a traditional action RPG, this is not for you. I can't believe this game is titled as an adventure RPG. I mean, I guess it is a reading adventure, This is not your typical action RPG. This is choose your own story, historical settings. It's a good thing it was on Game Pass. I'd be highly disappointed if I had to pay full price for something like this. But that's just me. I think the game is really only a $20 game, right? I think it's a $20 game no matter where you get it at. But it's free on Game Pass. So $20, if you're into that type of stuff, it's definitely worthwhile. I'm having a hard time not trying to be negative about it. I mean, it's only about 12 hours worth of gameplay. So, it just depends on how quickly you read and things like that. So you're looking at about 12 hours of playtime. And there's some exploration stuff mixed in there. But that's few and far in between the exploration part. But Nick, what about you, man? How do you feel about this game overall?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty much like you said. It is a choose your own adventure title, right? You have choices that do decide what because you do decide things. Things will come up, and when your choices that you make, it will say that so and so will remember that, right? So they'll remember the choices you make and the actions that you take at certain times. And so, depending on what you do can get you. And, so there's some replayability in that sense of like, you could go through and play it again if you want to try other actions and stuff, but it is a choose your own adventure. It is a read and follow interactive reading game. Right. I think the writing's very good and very well. Look at me. I can read. I think the writing's really good, and I think the storytelling is really good if you're into that. Just like Pat was saying, if you're into the I don't know much about the history of the time period, but according to people online and stuff, it has a lot of historical facts in the game. And that's one thing Obsidian wanted to do, was make sure that everything was historically accurate, or as accurate as possible, as far as not necessarily the story as far as what's going on with the mystery and everything, but just like the time period and the things going on within the time period and how stuff was called and everything. One of the neat things about the game that I do enjoy is that as you're reading through everything, it will underline things like certain characters or certain phrases where unless Old English or Roman, language or stuff like that, you're like, what does that mean? Well, luckily you can just hit the back button or picture in picture button and it will tell you what that means, right? Anything underlined. Or if you're like, this is for character George, and you're like, who was George again? You can hit the button and it shows you an illustration of that character. And you're like, oh yeah, that's that guy that was in town. Right. So that part I do like, because there is a lot of people, there is a lot of words that I'm like, what's that word? And I don't know what it means. So it's good to be able to hit that button and see what that is. But yeah, this game is for certain people, right? It really is. It's either going to be for you or not for you, right? There's going to be people that's not going to enjoy this game and not like it. And there's people that are going to really enjoy this game and really like it. Because I think the history and the writing is really good. And I like the artistry. I like the kind of old timey looking, like old, what is it? Religious books that had like the different illustrations and stuff. It's kind of like that come to life in the game, right? Whereas the old time, really old time artistry that they used to do back then, almost kind of like Monty Python in a sense, sort of, right? But as far as the illustration goes, right, not the humor or anything, but the illustration. But yeah, I think for some people this will be a really awesome experience and a really fun game, right? For me personally, I'm not that big into it, right? I've gotten through quite a bit of it. I mean, I'm not in Act 4 or anything like that, but I've gone through and read it, and there's some moments that are funny, and there's some moments that are pretty good that you do kind of get interested in the moment that's happening. But for me, it's just not my type of game, and I think that probably goes the same for all of us here. Is it's just not our type of game, right? But I personally wouldn't say it's a bad game. Is it bad for me? Yes, because it's not the type of games I typically play, and it's not something that I'm going to be interested in. But if someone was saying, "Is this a bad game?" I would personally say myself, I don't know. Try it. Like if you have Game Pass, go download it and see if you like it or not. If not, it is a $20 game, so it's not like it's going to break the bank on your budget, and you might like it. So it's going to be like, for like I said, not for me. It's not my cup of tea, but it's not a bad game because we've played, and I've played especially, I've played bad games. There are some games that I will tell you no one's going to like this. It sucks, right?
G.I. Joe.
Exactly. Good example of one. No matter, even if you're the biggest G.I. Joe fan, you will find that game the biggest pile of stinky G.I. Joe crap ever, right? That game was just horrible. So we played some bad games. This is not by any means a bad game. It's just not, for me personally, it's just not a game for me. But I think if you like that period in history, and if you're a historical, if you like history and kind of historical buff type of person, where you like that historical accuracy and you like that time period, and kind of like the whole thing with the archbishops and the archdeacons and the Romans and that type of period of time, and kind of what was going on with the Catholic Church and the small towns and various things, and kind of like all that crap that was going on around those times, then you might enjoy this, right? You might find it really interesting because there is a lot of historical accuracy and stuff. So I think it just pertains to a certain player, a certain gamer out there. We may not be that certain gamer, but those who are, this could be really something special for them, right? So not everything can be to our liking, I should say.
Yeah. And I kind of threw these guys off a little bit. There's only 3 acts with the wrap up, right? They don't consider the last little wrap up an act. So it's 3 acts and then the wrap up. So, but the game is meant to be played through multiple times too. That's the thing that also gets me, is I'm struggling with getting through how far I've gotten through so far. And I'm like, do I really want to play this again to make different choices? Because there's just, choice A and then choice B have different outcomes. And, and you're like, this game's all about choices. And you're just like, okay, but I can't get through the storytelling part enough, like I said. So, and like I said, I think I read some stuff online that technically to get all the different outcomes, you're gonna need to play it at least like 4 times or something like that. So, and I'm like, I'm struggling to get through it once, so I'm not gonna be able to get through it 4. So, I mean, this game is getting great reviews, but as Nick said, it's just probably for somebody else. It's not for me. Like I said, I'm not a historical gamer. I'm a sci-fi fantasy trope type gamer.
I just need something that's not boring. And it like, Nick is definitely right. It's one of those games where I appreciate the writing. It's just everything else does not work for me. For me, it's just boring as all get out. I mean, just talking about it, I keep thinking about falling asleep. it does go to show that Obsidian has amazing writers and they can do fantastic games, but this just is not one for me. If they took this story and put it into more of a traditional RPG, where it's a little more action, I can do something besides walk left, walk right, and read. I think this could have been fantastic, but they didn't do that. They went with, and don't get me wrong, I love that they tried something new and different because I've not played anything like this in forever, and it's nice that they're trying some new things, but for me, that's not what I want from Obsidian. But that is for me, my feeling, my opinion, my taste. I prefer just not being tired when I play a game and having a game just to, drain me because I'm having to constantly read and okay, so I'm going to make this decision and how's it going to affect? One of the first things I did is I could be kind of pervy and where I was from and all this. Well, so I picked the perviest character I could be, and I went to the thing from Brussels or something like that, or and
so Shane played himself is basically what you're trying to say.
Yeah. I went from an RPG to just straight up me, except for I didn't have a feather in my hat.
He's playing Second Life for real now.
Yeah, I tried to make it fun. I tried to make it fun for me. It's not fun for me. There's a lot of promise in this game, but like Nick said, Game Pass, try it out. It's $20, ain't gonna hurt you because there's a lot there for other people, just not these people. So.
Yep, I agree. So I don't know. I mean, my whole thing is basically, I would say, am I going to say 100% get this game and try it today? No, I'd say if you have Game Pass, download it, try it out. If you want to spend, on Steam, I think it's on Steam, right? I'm pretty sure. They have a 2-hour, return policy, don't they? Or
don't abuse that. That's so horrible.
What is it? 24 hour, 48 hour?
No, it's like so much time played.
I thought it was 2 hours played.
I think it is, but I'm saying don't abuse that. That's such a horrible way to look at that. I'm just
saying, like, if you're, if you want to try it out, that's a try before you buy type of thing.
Yeah, that's not what that was designed for.
That's not a game demo, man.
Yeah, that's not designed to be your game demo.
All right, then go spend $1 and buy a month of Game Pass.
So for those who always wondered what kind of a-hole would do that one.
I'm just saying, anything should have a try before you buy type of thing. And if that's the only way they're going to let you do it, then fucking do it.
That's only true.
I mean, everybody does it. Everybody does it too, right?
I mean,
so does
this
Xbox.
Would be wrong. This would be wrong. Like a while back, there was a developer that we talked about before that their games were less than 2 hours long. People would buy it, beat it, and then refund it. But you're not going to beat Pentiment in 2 hours. So if you don't like it, then it makes sense that if you're going to try it out, try to find a refund policy that makes sense for you, where you can say, you know what, I don't like this. Let me go ahead and refund it. Or if I do, then I already spent the $20. I'm ready to go.
I mean, Microsoft does the same thing, right? If you haven't played it for more than 2 hours, you can do it, which
exactly.
I kind of reserve that for they sold me a busted ass game or not as advertised. I don't run it as a game demo. I think that's kind of bad, but that's just my opinion.
Sometimes you don't know.
We can call that nickish. This way we don't.
We're going to call that nickish. That's the new word. That's nickish.
I mean, so the last Oricron, Oricry, the last Oricry, that wasn't what? What was that? What was that? Huh? You just didn't like it.
No, that was just a god awful game.
I did not return that
like we expected.
Well, he did, and I only returned it because he didn't like it.
No, I returned it because it's not what I was expecting.
No, you can't say not what you're expecting because you can watch internet videos. That's what I'm saying. You can watch videos on it to see what to expect for gameplay. So
hey, we're shitting on Nick here, damn it, not me.
Well, you're the actual one who's participated in this.
I learned it from you, Dad.
But I mean, I only do that, and I've only ever done it to one game, and I'm trying to remember what it was. But it was really badly broken. Like I couldn't play it. And I'm like, it's just ruined me, and I never went back to it. And I can't remember. It's been a while since I've had to do this, but I still have the last Oricru. It was a really crappy game, and I got it because we were going to review it, and it turned out that it was just really crappy. But I bought it and I kept it because I'm like, well, it is what it is.
I don't think I've ever returned a game on Xbox, Steam, or any of them that I've bought.
Done it on one. It was unplayable game, and I'll have to look it up to see what it was. But
I remember that too. I wish I could think of it because I think we both returned it. It was just such a
disaster. It was so bad. It was broken. You couldn't play it. I'm like, well, we're gonna get a patch in like 2 months from now. I don't want to wait. So
right. Well, if you don't have principles like me, you can try it out. But otherwise,
following Grandpa Shane's footsteps.
That's right. Following his footsteps.
I'm known as Cranky Kong on the streets.
Well, however, I would just say try the game out. If you don't like it, whatever the case may be, refund it or try it on Game Pass or like Pat said, look online and see other people's playthroughs. You can then see for sure how the game plays. It might be up your alley. It may not be. Just
or watch a little bit of gameplay that's attached to this review.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. And then you'll know if it's for you or not for you. So anyway, do you guys have anything else we want to add to this?
Don't play while driving.
Don't play while driving. That goes for more than just this game. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Hey, if you're not already subscribed, you can do it now while we're talking. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a lot, so that'd be great if you could do so. Also, hit the bell notification to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. Also, last thing, let us know down in the comments below, have you tried Pentiment for yourself, and what do you think? Give us your take on it. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but it may be for you, and you can let us know down in the comments why you like it. What do you like about it? You like the historical accuracy? You like the time period, the storyline? What did the artistry? What did you like about it? Just let us know down in the comments. But other than that, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.